Greetings and welcome to everyone out there in Birdland, wherever you are, whenever you are. My name is Steve, aka the Bird Watcher. I'm one of the newer channels dedicated to the Orioles you might find here on YouTube. And yeah, I am doing another podcast sort of thing. It's basically just me monologuing about the Orioles and the current state of things. But for those who might be tuning into my channel for the first time, let me just break down super quick what my channel is all about. The main content will be coming up this season. It's going to be a play-by-play live stream channel for every Orioles game, or at least that's my goal. 162 games. I'm going to be watching and reacting and providing commentary for all those games. Now, if you're familiar with sports streaming on the internet, obviously the game itself, the broadcast cannot be shown. So that's my job, is to do play-by-play. Now, am I Vin Scully? No. Am I John Miller? No. But I think I do a pretty good job at calling a game. In fact, if you go into my library on my channel, you can find the spring training call against the Red Sox, the first game of the Grapefruit League action this spring on Saturday with the Colton Cowser walk-off home run. It was a great first live experience. Also, I did a few other retro games just to get my feet wet and to, work out some of the bugs and what have you that come along with doing live streams. Now, admittedly, I'm not going to have a very fancy visual presentation that you might find on other sports streaming channels. But what we will get is excellent coverage, I feel, and a dedicated Orioles fan that knows what he's talking about for the most part, and will admit when he isn't sure if he knows what he's talking about. In fact, we'll get into that with this stream here today. Hello to Rishi Rich and RC here in the chat. Right, so the topic I want to talk about today, and I'll go ahead and make myself a little small here. I know I'm not getting clickbait for my appearance. We're here to talk about the Orioles. And as the title may lead you to question, I want to talk about Coby Mayo. Coby Mayo is off to a hot start this spring. In fact, let's go ahead and bring up their spring training stats. I mean, of course, it's super early, and you don't want to overreact. But seeing that walk-off home run he hit on Saturday, and then while I was sleeping overnight, he hit another big home run today. He's also been walking. He looks fantastic. Let me go in here and just bring up the spring training stats so far. There you see Cowser at the top of the list. He's got a pair of homers, 5 RBI, 3 hits and 6 at-bats, plus drew 3 walks. OPS over 2,000. I mean, again, just 4 games. Nothing to go crazy about. But this is this is the thing about Cowser that last year that sort of led to what was a pretty lackluster debut in the bigs. He just didn't look comfortable at the plate at all. And, clearly he has a mission this spring, which is I got to prove myself if I want to make the big team. And if you've noticed along the way, I can't say that I have personally, but through others that have been monitoring Cowser's minor league career, at every level, he has struggled a bit in the beginning getting his feet wet. So it just could be another case of that. And I have to think when we head into this opening day roster that the Orioles have to make a choice between Cowser and Heston Kjerstad because they're just too similar of a player, and it would feel redundant. And one of the two probably wouldn't be getting the number of at-bats that we'd like to see them get. Now, admittedly, before spring training started, I was leaning Heston Kjerstad as the guy. I just felt like we could use him as a DH a lot against right-handed pitching, an extra lefty bat with some pop, whereas Cowser felt like he might need a little more seasoning before we give him another shot up in the bigs. But, yeah, right now he's ripping it up in spring training. So Cowser has leapfrogged Kjerstad for me on the depth chart, and I want to see him up. But that's not the number one discussion. I want to talk about the infield, okay, and the meteoric rise that is Coby Mayo. This is a guy, one of our top prospects. If you're a big Orioles fan, you know the name. That, again, just a hunch, just sort of, maybe it's just sort of wishful thinking, but heading into the spring, I was really hoping that Coby Mayo was going to make an impression to, if not break camp with the team outright, then to make a statement that he needs to get called up sooner rather than later at some point during the season. Because ideally, folks, in my mind, the dream infield I'm looking at in my head has Mayo at third, Gunnar at short, Holiday at second, and then Mountcastle at first, with Jordan Westburg sort of being a rotational guy, sort of a, what would you call it? Sort of a super platoon, where maybe against left-handed starters, he fills in for Holiday at second base. Maybe if Mayo struggles a little bit, needs a day off, you play him at third. And even the occasional day off for Gunnar. You can move those parts around, and Westburg can probably still get 2 or 3 starts a week, probably can still approach somewhere in the neighborhood of 400 at-bats in a season. And, of course, if there are injuries, he's the first guy that would probably take over for one of Mayo, Gunnar, or Holiday. So I am making the case that we need to bring up Coby Mayo with the team, because I really like the idea of the kind of power he has as a right-handed bat, and he's showing the kind of power that says, yes, even at Oriole Park with Baltimore out there and left, he seems like another Ryan Mountcastle type that can handle being a right-handed hitter at Camden Yards. So I've been doing a lot of fiddling around with looking at our current roster and the players that I would expect to break camp with the team. And I've been working on some lineup scenarios as well, particularly against righties, as you can see. I want to go over those and explain them in a minute, but the giant discussion that I want to lay out there on the table here. How's chat doing here? One person watching. Well, thank you. Hey, maybe people will find this later. I got to get this off my chest because I'm just, again, the tinkering going on right now. I'm just so excited because our team is just loaded with players that can sort of be interchangeable and we can move them around and get everybody involved. Thank you, RC. But yeah, here's what I want to talk about. I don't want to spoil all this stuff I've got written down now here, but basically I'm talking about Jackson Holliday's service time and how it's a sticky situation because there's a way to keep a big prospect like this for an extra year of team control. If you don't have him up with the big club for the first 16 days of the season, then his service time doesn't begin until the following season. If Holiday comes up day one with the team, it begins the first of 6 years of control. But if we had a way to have him start down in AAA for a couple of weeks and let those 16 days pass, now we've got Holiday for the entire rest of the season with 145 games or so still left on the docket, and then another 6 years of control to go beyond that. And to me, I have every reason to say we should do that. And I'm probably in the minority on that because I know Oriole fans are going to want to see our top prospect on the opening day roster and just make our team look all that more loaded. But let me explain. There are many reasons why keeping Holiday down for 16 days makes complete sense. Okay? So hear me out. First of all, a lot of this is going to have to do with what we're going to do. There's a reason why here with this is my sort of 13 players coming up with the team. Although, as you can see here, Holiday is in parentheses, and Urias is listed here next to him. There's one of two things is going to happen. Holiday will come up and start with the team, and that would mean I would think Mayo would not be there, right? Or Mayo gets a shot, and I'm going to explain why I think he should, and then Holiday would be in AAA. And that would allow Urias to still be able to hang around for some reason. Now, you may be wondering, well, what's the reason? Because when I look at all of our potential lineup scenarios, ideal lineups, Urias isn't included in any of them. And again, if I'm looking at a dream infield where it's Mayo and Holiday and Gunnar and Westberg is still trying to fight for some time, and then Mateo still in there as a backup defensive replacement, pinch runner, etc., maybe occasional starter against a lefty, occasional start against a lefty. I feel like Mateo is the guy you want to keep on the team because of the tools he can give us for situational, strategies and advantages. Whereas Urias, he's a nice player and he's having a pretty good spring right now. But I feel like our best move would be to cash in on him and see if we can get something in return. And I'm thinking maybe we could use a bullpen arm, maybe a right-hander, maybe somebody with some, some really good stuff. Obviously, it can't be like a superstar reliever. We're not going to get that in return. But somebody with some upside, throw some gas. Because I'm looking at our two middle relievers right now from the right side. I'm completely comfortable with our lefty middle relievers, Coulombe and Perez. But the Dylan Tate and Jacob Webb combo, I'm a little skeptical. So far, both have pitched an inning or two in spring training and haven't been roughed up or anything. So if Tate looks good in spring, great. If Webb looks good in spring, I like him. But I also feel like we could upgrade and, just make our bullpen all the stronger. I feel like Urias needs to get moved. But I've got a situation lined up for this 16-day window where Urias gets to hang around for a little bit, maybe get some at-bats, and if he's hitting or playing like he is so far in spring, maybe that'll attract attention from other clubs looking at him because he is a player that can help a team. He's got some position versatility. Even though he's a right-handed hitter, he hits well against righties with the reverse splits. And, he's not exactly over the hill. He can help out a team, for sure. If we were the 2021 Orioles, he would be starting for us. No questions asked. But, our team has grown over the past couple of seasons. And this is sort of the result of that a player like Urias has gone from being a valuable part of our lineup to sort of the odd man out. Right? So, Kobe Mayo, third baseman of the future. I don't know what his defensive capability is. I did see him make a play in spring, sort of making a pick and running across toward first. Looked like a decent little play there, but yeah, I haven't seen enough of Kobe Mayo defensively to say, yeah, he's going to be no problems at third. He won't be a liability defensively. I can't say that for sure. But what I do know is that he looks like Austin Riley at the plate. I mean, he just looks really, really strong and scary. I don't know how else to put it. But he had another good game today. Drove in another run, I believe. Let me see where I can find Mayo on this list. Where is he? How is this? Oh, this is listed by home runs. Let's just put it by batting average. There you go. Batting average. Kobe Mayo hitting .556. 5 for 9. 2 runs scored, 3 doubles, and 3 walks. So not only is he scoring up the baseball, he's also showing a good eye at the plate early on. So, yeah, I feel like Kobe Mayo might be ready. He might be ready. But I feel like we've got a situation where we don't have to say, hey, Kobe, we expect you to be our everyday third baseman in the 2024 season. This is what I want us to do. It's a way to get Mayo, get his feet wet while maybe he's hot this spring. And it also will help us with our schedule. I want to take a look at our schedule here in a minute and explain again why Jackson Holliday might be better served to just spend 16 days down in the minors. But yeah, let me try to explain it. Basically, here's the deal, right? Where are we at? Okay. What am I trying to? I'm trying to show you this. So here are the 16 days that Jackson Holliday would miss. Okay, remember the season starts on March the 28th against the Angels. We have a home series, right? So that 16-day period includes 3 against those Angels, who, by the way, may very well be using 3 starting left-handed pitchers. They're in hot pursuit of Blake Snell and or Jordan Montgomery. Reports are that they're going to sign one of the two, or else Mike Trout is just going to be too pissed off to play. They don't really have an ace. They need to sign somebody. They've got some money after the whole, not paying Ohtani anything anymore. They need to go out there. I mean, all the money they wasted at the trade deadline last season, yeah, they got to go make a move. They're probably going to get a lefty in Snell or Montgomery. So if they're pitching, and then they've got, Reed Detmers and Pablo Sandoval. Maybe they get a righty in there, but at least 2 of the first 3 games, lefty pitchers on the mound, right? And Jackson Holliday, left-handed hitter, young. I'm not sure if he can handle left-handed hitting or pitching. It might be a situation like with Gunnar Henderson. When Gunnar, started the year, he could not hit left-handers worth a damn. In fact, even at the end of the season, you look at the Orioles splits, he's one of the weakest hitters on our team against left-handed pitching. He started to pick it up in the second half of the season, and I think even the home run he hit against the Rangers was also against a lefty. I can't remember who off of. That's if that's true there, Cam. If we've signed Colton Wong and Julio Teheran. First of all, are you sure about that? I saw Colton Wong's name pop up. I didn't see it. Oh, yeah, there you go. Well, there you go. More depth. More infield depth. And then Julio Teheran. More depth. Wow. So now we're just adding some depth. I mean, my immediate reaction is neither one of these players are going to be major impact players unless there's a rash of injuries. I think Colton Wong's best days are behind him. But now this sort of blows another. This could be another situation where maybe they bring up Colton Wong to start the season in place of Holiday to get those 16 days of service time allocated. Or what's the word I'm looking for? You know what I mean. To create another extra season of team control for Holiday. But yeah, I want to go through the Orioles' schedule here during these 16 days, and what we have during those 16 days, which is those 3 games against the Angels. Again, probably 2, at least, maybe 3 left-handed starters. So I feel like we can go without him against that. Again, and the Angels aren't one of the stronger teams. Then you have 3 at home against Kansas City. And we're probably facing their number 4 and 5 starter because, they would have played their first 3 games, and now we're getting into the back end of each other's rotation. And then game 3, if they go back to who their first, who their projected ace is, you got another lefty in there, right? And plus, it's the Royals, and you're at home. You expect to win. You expect to be able to beat a team like this at least 2 out of 3 without Jackson Holliday's help, right? Then you got 3 at Pittsburgh. Again, look at the easy schedule. Now, easy, when you say easy schedule, it's like asking for trouble. But wait till I show you what June looks like, and then you'll understand how easy it is early on for the Orioles in April. So then you got 3 at Pittsburgh. They have 3 lefties in their rotation. So there's a very good chance that 2 out of 3 of those games we're facing a left-handed pitcher. You see a pattern here? All right. Then the one thing that I can't exactly sell you on is 3 at Boston, who currently right now don't have a left-handed starter in their rotation, I believe, now that Sale is gone. I think they're also trying to land Montgomery. Maybe they'll have a lefty by the time we get there. But, yeah, it would have been nice to have Holiday maybe at Fenway. But if you can just get past that one series, and Boston is pretty much universally looked at as the weakest team in the division, there's also 3 off days during this stretch, okay? 3 days where we can't even use them if we wanted to, right? Out of 16, that's like 20%. That's 20% of this service time thing out of the way just for days off, right? So you're telling me we can't get through the Angels, the Royals, and the Pirates in 3 days off and then just, suck it up for 1 3-game series against Boston? Because after that, all you got to do is one more day. We're back home against the Brewers on the 12th of April. You call him up the next day for his debut on Saturday. He's with the club the rest of the season. And here's sort of my explanation of everything. This gives a chance for Urias to hang around the team for a bit, make a few starts, and, kind of show the rest of the league that, hey, I'm an asset worth having for your team. Do you need an infielder? You need a guy who hits from the right side but can also handle right-handed pitching? A little versatility there. Also pretty good glove work. He does have a gold glove to his name. I feel like we might be able to get, like I said, look to move him for a bullpen arm, preferably a right-handed arm. But this will give us a little bit of time to, negotiate something like that and not just cut Urias outright before the season starts. Because if we do bring up Holiday, and if Mayo is super hot that we can't resist going without him, then Urias seems like the guy we would have to just DFA. And instead of DFAing him, I want to get something back in return. I don't think we can get a huge haul or anything, but I do think, Cam, I've got plenty to talk about. Just I'm here to just get through everything and then end the stream, okay? I know who Julio Teheran is. He came up with the Braves. I know where he is. He's a veteran. He's been around the block. I know where he is, okay? He's not going to be in the Orioles rotation. I can go ahead and tell you, unless we've got a rash of injuries. Here's our rotation right now as it stands. Corbin Burns, Grayson Rodriguez, Tyler Wells, Dean Kramer, Cole Irvin. Cole Irvin is pitching lights out in spring right now. He's the biggest news, really, is his jump in velocity. He looks fantastic. Tyler Wells, there's no reason to not move him into the rotation while John Means and Kyle Bradish are down, because first half of last season, he led the American League in whip. The dude can pitch. We just have to ride him like we did last season. And when the wheels start falling off near the All-Star break, or if both Means and Bradish are healthy and back, we move him back to the pen. But yeah, we've got our starting five, and Julio Teheran is not going to crack that. Now, he could be potentially a replacement for, say, Mike Baumann as a long reliever. But Mike Bauman's having a nice spring so far. He's pitched a couple of shutout innings without giving up a base runner. And I like Mike Baumann. So, yeah, these are minor league contracts for veteran players, Cameron. And I don't exactly see them. Thanks for all the facts, by the way. Again, I know who Julio Teheran is. Okay? It's kind of insulting that you continue to, talk to me about the guy like I don't know who he is. I know who he is, dude. I promise you. All right? Right. So, again, we're talking about buying some time and also giving Mayo a window to come up and get his feet wet and maybe take advantage of the fact that, he's having a hot spring. So, 13 games. Remember, it's a 16-game stretch. Or a 16-day stretch, but only 13 games. So, with Mayo, we have options, obviously. That, he's a brand new call-up. He's going to make his major league debut. We can just have him up for 13 days, get him in this lineup that's going to see a lot of left-handed starters, and get him, give him a chance. If maybe he can stick. Or if he stumbles, it's okay. We just option him back down and replace him with Holiday after 16 days. That still keeps a spot on the team for Urias. But if Mayo is crushing it, and then the day comes that it's time to call up Holiday as well, then, again, that's where I see Urias as the odd man out. So hopefully we don't have to just get to that point and just cut him. Hopefully Mike Elias and the rest of the front office is looking at potentially moving Urias somewhere. Right, so like I said, so either you bring up Holiday for Mayo or you bring him up to replace Urias outright. This gives you an extra year of control for Holiday. Now, here's the potential issue with that, okay? Does this look bad? Is it bad optics? Are we sort of insulting our number one prospect by telling him, hey, maybe you are good enough to come up with the team to start the season, but we're going to, sort of use this manipulative loophole in order to get one more year team control out of you. But I feel like if the Orioles are just transparent about what they're trying to do, I think we can prevent any sort of animosity between Jackson Holiday and the club, right? So that's why I'm saying we deal with this by having an oral agreement, because we are in the middle of a transitional period where a new ownership group is coming in. Now, once David Rubenstein is settled in and we can start doing things like addressing contracts, I feel like what we do when we talk to Jackson at some point this spring and say, look, you're going to start down in AAA, but here's the deal. Yes, it is a strategic move to give us an extra year of team control, but we're going to offer you in return, a contract, like a legit contract, like a Jackson Chourio sort of contract. Jackson Chourio is the Brewers' top prospect, and he signed an 8-year deal for $82 million, and he hasn't had a single at-bat in the majors, which is what Holiday's current status is. He has yet to play a single major league game, but we believe in him enough, and there's precedent out there with a deal like this to talk to Jackson and go, look, yeah, you're going to spend a couple of weeks down in Bowie, but look, it makes sense. We want to take a look at Mayo. He can help the team out a lot early. And remember, this is all about buying into the team and and the team win mentality, right? This isn't a slight against you, Jackson Holiday, okay? But you might feel like you're getting shafted because of the team control loophole that we're taking advantage of. But we're going to give you a contract. Now, we can't give you the first contract because we need to lock up Adley Rutschman and we need to lock up Gunnar Henderson first. It only makes sense to sign those two guys before you sign Holiday. Because if you sign Holiday first, Jackson and Gunnar are going to be looking at each other like, really? This kid hasn't even done anything yet. What about us? Right? So that's what I'm saying. This is what you talk to Holiday about. We're prepared to offer you a contract along with Adley and Gunnar. You'll be making 7 figures instead of 6. All right? You're going to be making millions, not hundreds of thousands like a rookie would normally. Just hang in there. Let us, make our team as, make our team as strong as possible to start the season with, and we're going to call you up because once we do call up Holiday, I don't see unless he really struggles, he's probably up to stay forever. It's not like he's going to keep, jumping up and down, like say maybe a Colton Cowser or Heston Kjerstad might over these next couple of years. He's going to be up to stay. So yeah, this is the way to do it. You just explain it. Just be transparent with them. Hey, we're going to pay you. All right? Now, we can't guarantee anything right now. We got to get this ownership transition approved by the league, and all the, all of the legal stuff needs to be taken care of. But you have to know that Rubenstein, the new owner, it has to be his first priority is to lock up Adley, Gunnar, and Holiday. Maybe Grayson Rodriguez as well. Because here's the deal, by the way. If we're looking at team payrolls in MLB, if we're looking at extending, say, Adley Rutschman and giving him, I don't know, since he's been established, I mean, Major League Baseball has him rated as the number 1 catcher in baseball. So we're going to have to actually give him like a legit contract, not just like a nice little bump. But here we are in the rankings of team payroll. And as you can see, we're firmly down in the bottom third here, 23rd ranked, $84 million. In my mind, again, I'm more of a manager when it comes to my baseball intellect. I'm more an in-game strategy mind. I'm not really a GM type when it comes to like salaries and manipulating contracts and all that stuff. It's really not my forte. So, but from what I can estimate, my best, effort at estimating, I think we can give Adley an 8-year deal for like $20 million a season, right? So add $20 million to 84 on our team payroll. Now we're up to 104. I think we can lock up Gunnar for like, since he's a year less, it's one less year of experience. He's only had the one full season. Maybe he doesn't get 20, even though he probably should get it. But we can probably lock him up with an 8-year deal for like 17. And then we go ahead and lock up Holiday with, again, a contract kind of like Cheerios where he's making about $10 million a year, right? Or maybe we bump him up to, let's say we bump him up to 12. So you got a $12 million contract, an $18 million contract for Gunnar, and a $20 million contract for Adley. I'm just throwing out numbers just to get me in the ballpark of what would that be, just those 3 signings when added to the payroll. Well, 12 plus 18 plus 20, that's $50 million. You add $50 million to an $84 million payroll. That brings us up to $134 million. That puts us right at league average. It puts us right there, which is where we should be as a 100-win team with brand new ownership trying to build a World Series contender, right? Let's lock these guys up, right? I'm not worried about going out and signing a J.D. Martinez or some Scott Boras free agent. I want to lock up our guys. I want Gunnar. I definitely want Adley as a lifetime Oriole. So, yeah. Again, this is if we just spent some money to sign and lock up these guys, we would have all-stars locked in with contracts that, are going to spill over into what would be free agent years, and we're going to get it for, a 25 cents on the dollar or something, right? So yeah, that's the approach I'd like to see the Orioles take. So just one more thing. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and show you, again, some of these lineup scenarios and just how crazy they might be. By the way, I also have Kowser coming up instead of Kjerstad. I might have already said that, but let's take a look at some of these different lineups, and I'll explain each one and what they sort of represent. Against right-handers, I've got 4 different lineups here, and some of them include Holiday as if he's going to break camp with the team, and some of them include Mayo as if he were to break camp with the team. I don't have a situation where they're both on in the same lineup. Not yet, anyway. But this is sort of the Oriole Classic right here. This one right here. With Gunnar hitting leadoff, Rutschman in the 2 spot, Santander third, O'Hearn cleanup. And this is where I'm like, you know what? I want to see what Mayo can do early on in this season. This might only be a 2-week deal. So, Ryan Mountcastle, I love you. I think we can still get you in that bat here in the first. Again, we're going to see a lot of left-handed pitching. So Ryan Mountcastle is going to get at-bats in the early going, even with Mayo on the team, if we do the Mayo experiment. But if we're going to get Mayo in there, maybe it seems high to hit him 5th in a lineup like ours, but he's in the lineup because the dude can rake, because he's an RBI power hitting type guy. That's what he's there for. That's where he should be. If he's not hitting in this part of the lineup, then he probably shouldn't be in the lineup, if you get my drift. Then you round it out with Mullins in center, Hayes in left, Kowser in right. Yeah, did I mention I put Santander in as the DH? That's why you don't see Mountcastle. You got O'Hearn playing first, Santander DHing, and Kowser, with the way he's been going, we're going to give him a spot in the lineup here, and then Westberg to round things out, which will be a common theme with these other lineups. And the second lineup, this is the one where I feel like Adley Rutschman really should be. I don't like Gunnar Henderson as a leadoff hitter against righties, even though this seems to be the popular sort of like there's no debate about it. Like, I guess a righty hit Gunnar leadoff. I'm thinking no. I'm feeling like he's too valuable of a hitter to drive runs in to be hitting leadoff. Especially against righties. I mean, he just crushes righties. I want to see 1 or 2 guys on base when he comes up the first time every game. I want to give Rutschman a chance to use his on-base percentage skills and get on base for Gunnar, right? So I think Gunnar should be hitting 3rd, if not 2nd, against righties. And these next 2 examples of lineups give you a look at how that would play out. Now, in a perfect world, Cedric Mullins has a bounce-back season and shows us in the spring that he could indeed be a leadoff hitter and maybe go back to stealing 30 bases again and just, be a speed threat at the top of the lineup. You have Rutschman hitting behind him. Rutschman, of course, whether he's batting first or second, just a great player to have with the on-base percentage, with the ability to situational hit. You know, if Mullins gets on, you know, he's between him and Rutschman, he's going to get in a scoring position. And then you got Henderson following him. But here's a common theme. And, of course, here's Mountcastle and O'Hearn in the same lineup. This is the lineup without Cowser. In case people look at this lineup and go, gee, Cowser's really a starter? Well, this is if Holiday comes up and there's no Mayo. So these are all these are all kind of different lineups. But as you can see, all these lineups, every one I'm showing you, really look pretty good, right? And the kind of thing that I always look to build, at least when I'm playing my playing the show and building a franchise, I love to be able to split up, you know, same side hitters against starting pitchers as much as possible. And with all these lineups, there's never two righties hitting in a row, right? And in fact, in all of these lineups, the first four hitters you face are all going to be from the left side. And that's a tough pill to swallow for the opposing pitcher to have to get through, you know, a Henderson and a Rutschman and a Santander and an O'Hearn before you even see a righty. And that first righty you might see is either going to be a Mountcastle or a Mayo, who is, you know, followed up by yet another lefty. I mean, it's relentless, right? So yeah, here's an example of a Mullins leadoff lineup if Holiday is on the team. And, yeah, I just feel like this lineup would only make sense if Holiday makes the team. Because if Holiday doesn't make the team, we're going to have another righty in this lineup. Right? I think so. Or it would pretty much start to look like this lineup over here. Looking at the third one, this could be my favorite. Rutschman leads off, leads the team in on-base percentage, can hit homers, obviously, but also has, like, gap power. You know, you want a guy, you don't want a 40 home run guy hitting leadoff. You want a guy who can hit, like, 40 doubles, right? Just put yourself in scoring position. That way the number two guy can either drive you in or at least move you over and give a chance for the three-hole hitter to drive a run in. So, yeah, I got Rutschman hitting leadoff, Gunnar then hitting second. That way, hey, at least he's going to get the same 4 or 5 at-bats he would as if he were hitting leadoff. You know, maybe 1 out of 10 games he loses in that bat by hitting second instead of first. I think it's worth it when you consider that you're increasing the chances, like, infinitely for him to have a person on base for him to drive in. I mean, if you're hitting him leadoff to start off the game, you don't have that. Again, Santander hitting in a familiar spot. Third, O'Hearn, followed by Mountcastle. So this is the first O'Hearn-Mountcastle combo lineup where they both get in the lineup. And, yeah, I still figured out a way to get Mayo and Cowser in there as well if they're hot. And then Westberg. Again, this is the, I shouldn't say preferred lineup for the season. This is the preferred lineup for if we let Jackson Holiday sit down and buoy for 16 days. This is the lineup you can put up there against righties. You don't have that lefty Holiday bat, but you can still put a lineup together with only 3 righties in the lineup, no 2 hitting back-to-back, and a slew of lefties that a pitcher has to get through before, you know, and it really doesn't let up. I mean, Mayo hitting 7th, Cowser 8th, and then Westberg once again rounding out things. And then finally, this is the balls out, as little right-handed hitting in the lineup as possible lineup. By the way, you might have noticed in this lineup, there's no Austin Hayes. Well, there's no Austin Hayes in this one either. This is how strong this team's lineup is becoming. Austin Hayes was an all-star last year, and yet I feel like I can build a couple of lineups where he's not even worth, hitting at the bottom of the order. If Cowser can, handle the glove out in left field, which is the main concern, especially in, at Camden Yards. I feel like Cowser can, though. And again, that's another reason why, if he's hitting well, you definitely have to prefer him to Kjerstad, because Heston Kjerstad, we haven't seen a whole lot of him in the field, and I got a feeling the reason is he's not a good fielder at all. Now, you can hide a corner outfielder in most ballparks, and even at Camden Yards, you can hide him in right field if you want, but that's kind of why Santander plays over there. He's not a terrible fielder, but he doesn't have great range. He's not very fleet of foot. You need somebody who can move and has good range playing left field at Camden Yards, right? So I feel like if Hayes isn't in the lineup, we know that he can handle left field. Maybe Cowser can get that job done against right-handed pitching. But yeah, going back to this final lineup, this is murderer's row right here. Look at this. If you're a right-handed pitcher, seriously, the first 8 batters all from the left side, except one break against Ryan Mountcastle. Just an onslaught, right? And of course, you know how we've balanced out this roster. Our bench players, take a look at a lineup like this. Like, let's say they bring in a lefty when O'Hearn's due up. Well, guess what? You got Kobe Mayo, who can come up in a big spot here and just finish out the game as the DH. He can bat righty. Cowser, maybe you're not thrilled with 3 lefties in a row. They bring in a lefty here, and you're like, shit, well, they're going to shut down our 3 lefties. Well, Cowser can come out, and you can put in Austin Hayes to pinch hit. Hayes can hit lefties, right? And then with Holiday, what do you got left over here? Maybe you want to pinch hit him for Mayo for some reason. I don't know. The option is there, though. But that is a sick lineup, especially at Camden Yards. Are you kidding me? Just ridiculous. And again, this would be a team that if Mayo didn't make it, that's right. If Mayo wasn't up, you also got Urias on the bench. Urias could, well, he doesn't really hit lefties better anyway, so never mind. Again, just another reason why Urias is just sort of surplus to requirements at this point. Feel like that should be something the Orioles need to be working on, as much as possible for the next month. Finding a new home for Urias and targeting a relief pitcher, preferably a right-hander, preferably somebody with some at least one like filthy out pitch. I'm not expecting an all-star reliever, but all right. Well, I think I've pretty much gone over everything I want here. I guess I annoyed Cam by telling him yes, I know who Julio Teheran is. But wow. This is going to be a long trek. I was hoping maybe just random people might show up and check out what this might be all about. Hey, what are you going to do? All I know is I'm excited. Let's take a look back at again. Let's lock up our players. We're still going to be like in the middle of the pack in terms of payroll, actually below league average if we do so. Again, I was throwing out sort of estimated figures about what it would take per year to sign Adley, Gunnar, and Holiday. But, yeah, again, based on other contracts that I've seen around, similar situations for young players getting long contracts early, I think my estimate that a combined $50 million between the 3 is about right per year. So, yeah, we can add that $50 million to this payroll. We can. And we'd still have some wiggle room, say, for next season. Once maybe if Burns has to walk, maybe that cash that frees up plus a little extra spending cash to bump our payroll up. We go out and get another ace. Find a Burns replacement. Yeah, unbelievable. Wow, we really just look so loaded right now. All right, is there anything else I want to take a look at before I go here? I guess just take a look at some of these other notables. Daniel Johnson, who nobody's really expecting to, make the team. He's certainly turning heads so far in spring. 5 for 11, 2 doubles, a triple, a homer, 3 runs scored. That's not too shabby. Kjerstad is struggling, by the way. You got Kowser hot and Kjerstad not too hot. One for 11 with 4 strikeouts. So that's making the choice between those two seem a lot easier right now. Now, again, it's early. I understand. We still got a whole month of spring training games to play here. But, early doors. You got to start at least thinking. There's nothing wrong with thinking about what might work now, and then if you got to make a little adjustment, you make the adjustment. Again, you don't want to see anybody get hurt, but Kjerstad would probably be the first outfielder to come up if one of our guys went down. I say probably. Again, his defense is questionable. I mean, if Mullins goes down and our only other sort of center field option is Kowser, and then Mayo, you can tolerate as a stopgap, but you don't want to see him out there every day in center, I wouldn't think. Let's see, Kyle Stowers, another lefty outfielder. He just seems like he's never going to be able to get ahead of Kowser and Kjerstad. It might be worth looking at packaging him in some sort of deal. But hopefully he can maybe do a little more than he's doing right now, going 1 for 10. He does have a homer for his 1 hit. But 1 for 10 with 4 strikeouts, not such a good start for Stowers. Again, we looked at Mayo. Mayo's absolutely crushing it. He's leading the team in, other than Kowser, he and Kowser, the 2 biggest OPSs on the team. They are the 2 hottest hitters on the team right now, and you love to see it because they're both 2 of our best prospects that, have, if not a decent shot, then a very good shot at becoming, a part of our major league squad and getting significant playing time. Looking around, a lot of Jordan Westberg, by the way, getting off to a hot start as well. You'd like to see that. Tyler Nevin is making some noise. I just don't see how. I mean, I suppose if Nevin can play third, and you don't want to risk trying to throw Mayo out there in the show, Nevin might be an early season option. I just don't see him being a year-long stick with the club kind of guy. And as you can see, Holiday, just 7 at-bats, but only 1 single. He's struck out 5 times in those 7 at-bats, hitting 143. So if Holiday is going to struggle, again, just another reason to just start him in the minors. Again, we have to look at this schedule one more time. You got to look at the beginning of the season and then look at what happens in June. Beginning of the season, home to the Angels. You got to like our chances of taking 2 out of 3. Home to Kansas City. You got to like our chances of taking 2 out of 3. A sweep, not out of the question. At Pittsburgh, you got to like our chances, 2 out of 3. At the Red Sox, maybe we're due to only take 1, but we're taking 1. We're not going to get swept. We don't get swept. Right? Then you got 3 at home to the Brewers. Hey, Corbin Burns might have a chance to face his old team in front of our home crowd. 3 against the Twins at home. They're not bad, but, the AL Central, pretty weak. Then you get the Royals again. Then you get the Angels again. Then you get the A's. I mean, between the Pirates, the Royals, and the A's, those could be considered three of the weakest teams in the league. And the Angels aren't too far behind unless they can beef things up with the way they've been playing. A lot of people are expecting a jump from the Royals, but it's a jump relative to the division they play in. I don't think anybody's looking at Kansas City as a threat in any other division other than the AL Central. But 6 games against them, we're taking 4 out of 6. I'm sorry, if not 5. It's happening. And then, then finally we play the Yankees at the end of April. I'm going to skip all the way into June now and show you the night and day difference between an easy schedule and a tough schedule. Now, if Holiday starts the season down in AAA, and he comes up, like I said, what was the date that he would be coming up? April 13th. So you're going to have a month and a half between when he'd get called up and then the beginning of June. That's a month and a half for him to get comfortable. Hopefully, kind of like how Gunnar needed about a month and a half to get comfortable. That would be perfect because now you got a comfortable Jackson Holiday with some at major league at bats, major league experience under his belt, month and a half. Because you're going to need the best he can give you, along with everyone else, during this horrid month of June. You got the Rays. Then you go to Toronto for 4. Then you got another Rays series, 4 on the road. Then immediately after 8 games on the road against 2 tough division opponents, a 3-game set with the Braves, followed by a 3-game set with the Phillies. Then you get your only day off of the whole damn month, right? That's the other thing. It's not just who we're playing. We only get 1 day off. Our bullpen is going to be a disaster by the time we get to this day. Braves and Phillies, both playoff teams. Rays, perennial playoff team. Jays could be knocking on the door. All right, then you get your day off. Now you're heading out to the Bronx for 3 games. Then you're going to Houston for 3 games. That is a sick 3-week, or 21-game stretch right there. Sick. Then you get a little bit of a breather. 3 at home against Cleveland. You'll take that. But then, we'll follow that up with a 4-game series against the World Series champs. So, yeah. If you're an Orioles fan and you haven't looked closely at the schedule, June is going to probably make or break our season. Can we get through June without getting our asses handed to us? No, Larry, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying there's a difficult part of the schedule, and it should be pointed out. I know you're just giving me a... See, this is the whole thing about a sports stream. I feel like when I do my comedy stream, people come in, they say hello. You do a sports stream, and it's like, hey, let me bust your ball. Hello, let me bust your balls. How you doing? It's sports, right? I'm busting your balls. Like, can't we just hang out like friends? I know you're just kidding, Larry, but it's like, why is it everybody's like default setting when dudes talk sports and just immediately come in and bust balls? I'm not upset about it because I know you're just kidding. I spent an hour here talking to this nobody, and then I'm happy to see you, and then it's just right out with a ball bust. It's fine. I don't know. Come on, Larry, you're a clever dude. You're not like some jamoke with nothing original, and you can do better than that. Like Cam up here telling me to figure out who Julio Teheran is. Yeah, Larry, you missed my hour-long dissertation on the Orioles and what they should do with Jackson Holiday. I feel like they should start him down the minors for that 16-day window where once he clears 16 days, we call him up. We get 1 extra year of control. Instead of 6 years, we get 6 years plus about 150 games. Am I doing a game tonight? No game tonight. No baseball till I think. Let's look back at the schedule here. Whoops. Okay, we're in the regular season here. I think it's the 6th of March against the Pirates. It's a 6:05 start. Yeah, there it is. Wednesday, March 6th. All these other games start at 1 o'clock. I'm not going to be up for it. I'm not going to be up at 1 o'clock in the morning. I did it one time. I enjoyed doing it, but I was exhausted. And it took like 2 days to get my equilibrium back. But yeah, that's the next night game. And then 2 days after that, another night game against the Tigers. I'll be doing both of those, assuming that they're both going to be on the air somewhere. Then you get to the next week. It'll be one game against the Braves. Can't wait to see the Braves. Week after that is the final full week of spring, and we get 3 games in a row. And this, Larry, this is going to be my stamina building thing, because that's the one thing I'm worried about. Like, I'm calling some spring games here, but I need to get used to calling games day after day after day. And this thing is going to be a grind. But yeah, the 20th, 21st, 22nd, 3 straight 6 o'clock first pitch. Phillies, Red Sox, Pirates. I'll be doing all of them. Hell, I'll even do a split squad game. That's Saturday against the Jays at 6, if that game is on the air. It's fireworks tonight. It better be on the air. Let's see what Fangraphs has as their current projected lineup. They've got Gunnar hitting leadoff. Again, this seems to be the popular opinion, and I know Gunnar hit leadoff a lot last year, but Adley also hit leadoff. I would rather have Adley leading off. I just would. I would rather have a guy who's known for his on-base percentage than who's known for his power. Right? You want the power to come up after the guy who gets on base. That way, maybe you drive 2 runs in instead of just 1. Again, Santander hitting third, that's fine. You could make a case for him to maybe bat 4th or 5th. Just somewhere in that part of the lineup is fine. O'Hearn, certainly against right-handed pitching, you definitely want that lefty bat. Strong lefty bat. He just completely pummels right-handed pitching. I think his average exit velocity on contact against righties is damn near 100 miles an hour on average. Austin Hayes, Mullins, Mountie batting 7th. I mean, folks, if we're this, first of all, this doesn't make sense. You would flip-flop Hayes and Mountcastle. There's no way. Mountcastle would hit 5th and Hayes would bat 7th. This just looks wrong. It would make more sense. Mountie's here, then Mullins, Hayes, then Holiday, and then Westberg. Oh, that's right, Larry. You're a Phillies fan, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, I don't want a Kyle Schwarber situation. Yeah, let's not try and reinvent the wheel here. Yeah, you want a guy like, I understand Adley Rutschman. Maybe people who aren't thinking outside the box would just look at him and go, well, he's a catcher. You want a catcher hitting leadoff? He doesn't really steal a lot of bases. He's not that fast. But no, first of all, our team isn't, going to sit around like swiping bases left and right. We're a good base running team, but not necessarily a base stealing team. We got one guy that we can rely on to go out there and steal bases if we need one, and that's Mayo, which is why he's a great guy to have in our bench. Mullins might, be able to return to form and be a 30 stolen base guy again, but it's sort of a prove it that you can still do it sort of thing. But I don't think his stolen base ability is enough to validate hitting him leadoff when you can have a guy like Adley with an on-base percentage like 80 points higher than that. He's not going to steal the base, but again, Adley has doubles power, so yeah, your typical leadoff hitter, might be a slap hitter, a singles hitter who has speed that then gets the second. Well, Adley's just going to hit you a double and be on second. And then you bring Gunnar up Phillies were a good stealing team, but the worst base running team. Oh, so they were kind of the reverse situation. Yeah, part of the reason why Gunner's wins above replacement was so high and made up for what was a pretty terrible split stat against left-handed pitchers. He only had 11 steals, right? But he like when there were situations where he's on first base and there's a hit in the right field, first to third every time. He took the extra base so many times. There was a particular play, he just hustles. He's constantly monitoring what the defense is doing. I remember specifically a play Randy Arozarena was a little lackadaisical on, just sort of soft lobbing a throw back in from left field, and Gunner just took another base. He went from second to third, right in front of him. A couple times Gunner will run himself into an out. A couple times he's shown to be a little too aggressive. In fact, I think he got picked off during the playoffs, during that 3-game playoff. There was a pick-off at one point. But, yeah, I definitely want to see Gunner lower in the lineup. This is, Larry, this is my, these are some of my lineup scenarios. I don't know if you popped in after I already went over this, but I should probably be wrapping up because now it's 9 a.m. It's 1 hour until the other stream starts, and I got to go get my breakfast and all that happy horse shit. But yeah, this Rutschman lineup right here. By the way, Kobe Mayo, Larry. Get to know the name Kobe Mayo. That's who I spent the first half hour or so talking about. Was two things. Basically, it makes sense to let Jackson Holliday begin the season in the minors and take advantage of service time rules to where we'll have an extra year of control if we just have him sit down there for 16 days. And in those 16 days, Larry, I'm just repeating myself now, but in those 16 days without Holliday, again, if you look at the schedule, we play the Angels, who may very well have 3 left-handed pitchers. Holliday's a left-handed hitter. Starting against us. They're going to have 2 at least. And all signs point to either one of Snell or Montgomery signing. So that's just another lefty at the top of the rotation that we'd be facing in that opening series. Then you get Kansas City, where you're going to be facing their 4 and 5 starters, and then the third game would be back to the top of their rotation, who's another lefty. So I feel like a lefty and the 4 or 5 starters on the Royals, do you really need Jackson Holliday? Do you need to count on him, or don't we have enough to get the job done without him? If it means, again, getting to have him for an extra whole year to just get through these games. 3 of the days of the 16 days for the eligibility or lack of eligibility, whatever you want to call it, are off days. You know what I mean? That's 20% of this tiny little wait if we just be patient and not call him up. We get that off. All right, I'm pretty much I'm back around circles and repeating myself. I think I'm going to wrap things up. That's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. I guess some people popped in, 12 views, 4 likes. It's going to be ideal slot for Gunner. It's either second or third against righties. And against lefties, here, I'll show you again the... here's him batting. If Mullins can show in the spring that he could hit leadoff potentially, what I'd like to do, by the way, Larry, is, I'm a bit of a idiot savant with this, but I'm all about breaking up the lineups to where it makes it really difficult, especially late in the game with bullpen matchups, to just bring in a righty or a lefty and just blow like 3 of our guys away, right? Like the lineups I'm building here, like against a right-handed pitcher, you never have 2 right-handed batters in a row. And honestly, you don't even have, with this lineup, 2 left-handed batters in a row. So let's say they bring in a lefty later in the game. Because of our switch hitters, you're still going to have to face. You're not going to be able to do better than 2 guys out of 3. You're going to have to face one guy you don't want to face, right? No problem, Larry. Now you know going forward. So yeah, that's why I just love the pieces we have on this team. I mean, maybe it just all looks good on paper. At the end of the day, you know, a lot of these players, who knows? Some might regress. Some might just completely shit the bed. You got a guy like Ryan O'Hearn, who Kansas City just outright cut last year. He was just sitting out there looking for work. Now he's a guy that I don't have a lineup against the right-handed pitcher where he's not hitting like in the middle of the order. He's too valuable. But yeah, this would be what a Gunnar Henderson like hitting third in the order would look like. If Mullins can handle leadoff, he hit Rutschman second, Henderson third, Santander behind him, Mountie, O'Hearn, Hayes, Holiday, Westberg. I love that the Phillies can go lefty-righty through the whole order. Yeah, as you can see, look at this lineup over here to the far right. This is my fucking go lefty crazy, especially in Baltimore, because as you know, Larry, we got a gigantic left field. So if we can build lineups at home against right-handed pitching opponents where we're just stacking lefties, well, you know, they aren't going to be able to match the amount of lefties we can. Look at this lineup here. Just look at it. I mean, what do you expect out of your number 9 hitter anyway? So basically, out of your top 8 hitters, 1 righty. And the one guy who's a righty, Ryan Mountcastle, is one of those guys with the kind of power that can clear the wall in left field in Baltimore. You know, if he gets a hold of one, it's going 420 feet, right? He doesn't hit 360-foot home runs. He hits 420-foot home runs. You hear what I'm saying? This is the only lineup though that where you've got like lefties in a row. But let's say like right here. You got a righty starter. Cowser is in this spot in the order. Easy switch out. You put Austin Hayes in here. He plays left field. He's normally the everyday left fielder. Boom. How many switch hitters they got? Well, the only 2 regulars are I got them right. You know, you can see right here. It's Rutschman and Santander. As far as our prospects go, Kobe Mayo is a right-hander. Kierstad's from the left. Cowser's from the left. Connor Norby's a righty. I think is Sammy Basayo. Let me see what. I don't think Basayo. I think Basayo's I'm really not sure. This dude, by the way, is just another. He's only 19, and he might be only 1 year away, and he's a catcher. Oh, he bats lefty as well. God, it's just going to be another. This is probably our first baseman of the future. Very few switch hitters. Yeah, especially switch hitters that are effective from both sides of the plate. You know, a lot of times you'll get a switch hitter that, you know, has clear splits, and it's like, well, just hit from that side. It's clear that you're, you know, below average from the other side of the plate. But yeah, Adley Rutschman and Anthony Santander are both guys you can plug in every day. If Adley's going to be hitting at the top of the lineup, and if they use him as a DH to give him extra at bats, you know, days off where he's not crouching behind the plate, but you still get him in the lineup, he's going to have as many at bat. I mean, he could, you know, usually a catcher, it's hard for them to get more than maybe like 450 at bats in a season because, you know, they're getting like 2 days off a week and they're hitting lower in the order. Adley's going to have like 600 at bats. And that's not including, you know, like the 75 walks that are going to go along with it. Oh, it's going to be great. We're going to get so much out of him. He's going to be handling the pitching staff. He's going to be nailing runners out at second, trying to steal. He's going to be in the middle of all the rallies on offense. He'll be dishing out hugs to whoever's closing out games. All with a smile on his face. God damn, how do you not love Adley Rutschman? Oh, Larry, this is the first time, my team's ever had like a catcher this good. And, we've had our share of memorable catchers, beloved catchers, Rick Dempsey, Chris Hoyles, Mickey Tettleton. If I go to a batting cage, I, at least for a few pitches, mimic Mickey Tettleton's batting stance. It's my favorite batting stance of all time. Just a big farm boy standing straight up and down, cradling the bat, and then just uncurling like a, I don't know, like some sort of coil that's been tightly wound and then just let loose. Mickey Tettleton. All right, I got to get out of here. The Orioles, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm saying. I think I've gone over it all. Main points one last time. We need to think about how to offload Ramon Urias. And I feel like we can get a bullpen arm for him. And that is going to clear up the problem, because if we keep Urias, we're probably going to have to decide whether to, is Kobe Mayo going to get a chance? I want to see him come up with the team. But yeah, the other main point is Jackson Holliday, no matter what else is happening, 1 extra year of team control is more valuable than the 16 days we would be using him to start the season. I cannot stress it enough, folks. Just look at what those 16 days are and tell me that we can't manage without him and how much more it would mean to have him for that extra year. If we started the season facing the Yankees and the Rays and the Astros, I'd be like, all right, we need to not get too cute and just bring up our best players, right? Yeah, Larry, I'm doing okay on the sub count, but I guess nobody's getting notified or popping in. I guess everybody, well, there's a fifth like. I guess if I just stay on long enough, eventually people show up. But we'll see. There's going to be some competition out there. I've noticed there's already a few other brand new Oriole channels, and it's all because of sort of, we're in this moment right now where, the future's bright. Things are looking up, and I want to be here to document it. Has who indicated they might do what? Sorry. What could you give me the what might not let Jackson break camp with the team? I mean, the jury's completely out. And right now, Holiday has gotten off to a slow start. So we would have yet another excuse to be like, look, we're not trying to slight you. You're our number one prospect. You're our future. We're not trying to slight you by having to go down to Bowie for a couple of weeks. But look, and that's what I was saying during my explanation. Just be completely transparent with him about it. Say, look, Jackson, yes, by making you start out in the minors for a couple of weeks, it's going to give us an additional year of team control. But look, it's not like we're sitting here wanting to pay you league minimum or whatever, a rookie would make. We want to go ahead and give you like a Jackson Cheerio type contract. All you need to do is just hang in there, because we're in the middle of a an ownership change. That has to get finalized. As soon as it is, then contract for Gunnar, contract for Adley, contract for Holiday. Right? And this is, a comp you can use to be like, all right, Jackson Cheerio, he's the Brewers' number one prospect. He's considered to be as big of a piece of their future as the Orioles do Holiday. So here's a precedent. There's an 8-year deal for $82 million. He's going to be getting paid about $10 million a year. If you can tell me we can create a contract that extends into Jackson Holliday's free agent year, where we're only paying him $10 million a year, I'll do it. It's a risk. Maybe he might be a bust. All the hype behind him might wind up being a bust. But I'll tell you this: so far, Elias is 2 for 2 in terms of scouting a number 1 pick and them coming up through the system quickly and making a splash. You got Adley 2 years ago, Gunnar last year. We'll see what Holiday can do. Yeah. All right. I think that's yeah. I gotta go get some food. All right. Yeah. So, folks, by the way, I'll go back and just bring myself up here. Right. Hey, if you're watching this later, and the odds are you might be, because maybe only a dozen people popped in during the live stream. Look, I'm not worried about it. I know I'm going to be giving you guys some good Orioles content, So if you want like a fancy, like sort of looking eye candy spectacle sort of channel, that's not going to be the one. But if you want to hear a guy who's got a decent speaking voice and knows his stuff and is a passionate fan and would love to have conversations about what's going on with the Orioles, with Major League Baseball in general. 8 hours down, 19 to go. How do you mean there, Larry? Oh, that train ride. You're on that train. I forgot about that long train ride. Okay. 8 down, 19 to go. Wow. Well, I hope I helped you kill an hour. Go back and watch the beginning of this that you missed. Maybe it'll help you fall asleep. Right. So, yes. If you're watching this later and you haven't already done so, again, I'm a brand new channel, and I would advise you to subscribe, okay? And you can come in and hang out during the live chats. Again, it's mostly going to be a day after day play-by-play call live stream situation where you can hang out, listen to the game get called, interact in the chat, talk about strategy in real time and other things. But at the same time, probably once a week, at least until the season starts, maybe on an off days during the season, I'll do a little podcast thing like this where just sit down and talk about the state of things and sort of what are sort of the hot button issues of the time, right? So yeah, please subscribe. Hit the like button if the subscription request is too much to ask, okay? I'm a small channel, but I got some ambitions, all right? We got a 40-year drought, and I'm here to cover the turnaround, the Orioles magic. I'm here to document it. The dedication. I'm going to have to prove it, right? A year from now, everybody's going to be able to look back and go, wow, this dude really put in the dedication. Well, it's all just jibber jabber until I do it, right? But hopefully some of you out there believe me, and you're going to want to be on this journey with me. I can't wait. I cannot wait for opening day. I cannot wait. Let's go. Let's go Orioles, all right? I hope your beer is cold. This has been the Bird Watcher. I'll chirp at you later.